Howdy everybody in YouTube land. This is part 2 of the Macintosh television or Macintosh TV restoration series. I figured I would start with the case. So besides, the blemishes and stuff here and there, and a little crack down there, we have this major one right here that we must deal with. So what I've done is I actually ordered wherever it went. Hold on, let's see if I can find it. Oh, it reached behind me. I actually ordered this stuff right here. It's a general purpose plastic solvent cement. So I'm not going to use epoxy or something like that, but there's a brush in here, and this is just methyl ethyl ketone, MEK. So I'm thinking of probably making a fatal mistake here, but you don't know until you try it. But this is like for model stuff. I was going to take a little bit of that and go in this crack once I get the CRT and all that out, and then just, clamping it and hold it together just to see how well. And then if it oozes out a little bit, just grab a towel or something wet and clean it off. I don't know. We'll have to play that one by ear. The last thing I want to do is have it seep out the front. So I may just dab a little bit, clamp it, and then wipe it on the back side, but we'll see. However, more pressing, we've got to get the CRT out, which is using these sockets. And there's a correction magnet here that we don't want to lose. And then we got to get this base out. And that CRT has definitely got some hours on it, because look how dark the cathode is. So, if I'm not mistaken, there are clips here. There's one here you got to push in, which is kind of like right here. So that has to come out on that side. The same thing over there. And this assembly should slide out. So let's do that and get that out of the way first. That took me a minute to figure out, but there's actually two clips. This one gets pushed in so we can lift up, but there's also another one here. There's a plastic ear that comes all the way up and grips this. So I lifted that side up for now, and I stuck the screwdriver in here so it can't fall back down in there, because now I got to do the other side. And just like that, it is out. I was able to lift it straight off. Haven't looked in the front yet to see what we got, but yeah, it's off now. Oh, nice. There's two speakers in there. Cool. Alrighty then. Now, like I said, that out of the way, so I don't have to worry about that until later. Alright, now we can get the CRT out. Let me get all this dust off of my shirt. Okay, let's figure out what socket this actually is. I'm gonna say it's this one. What a guess. Pretty good at eyeballing socket sizes. I always have been. Since I can't use a tripod on this camera due to the fact of not having the table room, because my tripod normally sits there. So where did I put you, you little socket? Okay. I would lose my mind if it wasn't attached by loose bolts. Where? What? How is this possible? I just had the socket. What did I do? Hold on a minute. I'm losing my mind. Sorry, I lost that a long time ago. Come on, open up. I'm gonna pause this. Yep, it's been a long week. Well, actually, the weekend has just started. Being careful with this because these plastic housings are brittle as hell now. It's out of the way. Let's move that one out of the way. Alright. Grab you. Oh, it's warm too from the resistance. Okay, you're out of the way. Move you out of the way. Then we're going to move the degaussing coils out of the way. Okay, that's all. Oh, it's real sticky and gooey. Oh, it's degrading rubber. Oh, this old crappy rubber. Alright, let's move you out of the way for now. I'll do with you in a minute. Move you out of the way. So, that, in theory, 777, really? Interesting. I should be able to remove the CRT. So let me remove the CRT out of there, and we're going to set it somewhere out of the way so it doesn't get damaged, which I'm going to use the spare bedroom for that. CRT's been removed. I can put my flat blade screwdriver and all that fun stuff back. Now we can see the full extent of the damage. I have this little board here, which I might as well just get out of the way. I don't even know what it is. Oh, that's the IR sensor. Wait, there's a microphone that normally goes there. Interesting. Huh. Well, worry about you later. Okay, so now we can see the full extent of the damage. Oh, clips. These are the clips that grab it here and here. So, okay. There's the ABS molding information. Made in Singapore. Yep, ABS. Let's see. Never mind. So, oh yeah, I can lift the whole thing up and the whole, it's loose. See. Okay, so now I can see the full extent of the damage. And it's pretty extensive. So, I think, let's see. How easy is this crack going to be to hide? Yeah, it's not perfect. Nope. That's as best as it's going to do. I can get it close. But that is missing. So, I can get it close. I don't think I've got a big enough clamp for this, or know how to clamp. I want to figure that out. So let's experiment with some clamps so we can see what we got to do. So I grabbed 4 little cheapo Harbor Freight specials. So I think with that, this thing's got some nicks in it, and can't be too picky. See if that'll clear up, but I'm not sure. But anyways, we will see if we can't figure out the best way. And we're going to be able to clamp this. Best thing to do is to experiment first before you add the glue, because once you add the glue, it's fairly permanent. Okay, I can grab it there, but it's not perfect. Okay, that's going to be a problem. not wanting to. Yeah, this is gonna be fun on a bun. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm gonna be able to do it that way. And then I gotta figure out if I can do it this way. I need to get rid of these tags. Yeah, I can kind of get it in there. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, but it's certainly better than it was. I can still see the split a mile away, though. Unfortunately, there's not much I'm going to be able to do about that. Just going to have to deal with it. Okay. Alright, so I know I can do it this way. If I don't think this is going to matter. Because the crack's not there. The other way I need to do this is with a much longer clamp. This long, which I don't have. Because otherwise I'd like to clamp it there. Unfortunately, I do not have a clamp for that there. Okay, well, what if I pop this one loose? Just having this one here alone is working. Because I can, work with it like this, get the, is that whole thing split? Is that whole thing split? It is. That whole thing is split. Yeah, it is. That whole thing is split. There's a support wing here. It's completely split into two. So that gives me more room to bite on it with glue. And plus I got a good crack surface right there I can use. And douse some glue on there and hold all that in. So that can work structurally to a point. Yeah. I gotta use the ABS. Yeah, see, that's not gonna wanna. Such a pain. I'm OCD, so I'm trying to set it up to where I can get it to look right. But I don't think that's gonna happen. No matter how hard I try, this thing is just screwed. Yeah, I'm going to manipulate this so much I'm going to crack another end of it. That'll be my luck. Yeah, it's broke there too, so yeah, I need to... I think what I can do is add a bunch of glue to the structural areas, clamp it together, like right there. Structural areas, clamp it together. No. Maybe. And then what I can do is just add this glue after the fact. I'm gonna need one clamp right across here, like where I had it before, right here. So we can add a bit of glue here, around there, maybe here, and just a little dab there. Might be able to get that to bond. what I want to do is I want to grab that bottle of glue and I want to test it to make sure it's actually going to work. And here's how we're going to do that. Just going to add a little bit over there on the speaker grill and see if it'll actually bond. Just grab a pokey tool. It's working, yeah. It's bonding. So it's literally almost instant. Okay, so yeah, it works. It's like acetone. It literally, I tried it over here. It literally melts the plastic ever so slightly, and you can bond right to it. It's just a weld. So what it's going to do is, it's anyone that's not familiar with MEK and acetone and stuff like that on ABS, what it's going to do, it's actually going to melt this plastic a little bit. So when I go to clamp it, it will actually glue or melt back into each other. It's like a weld, essentially. It's stronger than glue because it's not a glue, it's a weld. It's like spot welding two pieces of metal on a spot welder. It's basically what you're doing here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to wet this guy up, which is going to be out of frame a little bit. Just going to kind of like set it off to the side. We're going to wet this guy up. This is really, really dangerous. But there's no, you've got to be super, super, super good with this. I'm trying to figure out how to do this properly. It's already starting to melt. See if that even does anything. There. Leave it just like that and see if it'll bond. It may or may not. I should have done both sides, which is hard to do. Screw that up before it gets, evaporated. Alrighty then, so we're gonna let that sit and cure for a minute. Not really doing much. So we're gonna let that cure and we'll come back. Now that it has been 24 hours with the clamp on, it's bonded now, but it's far from perfect. You can see where the cement had come out a little bit, and I tried to get it off, and yeah, you can still feel the crack there, and there's pieces of plastic actually missing from where it broke the first time around. So it is not perfect. It didn't bond here because I couldn't get a clamp on it, but I mean, it's good. It's rigid. Here's the other side, so we can take a look at that. And I drizzled it on the bottom side where it's not seen, so it's in there. It's bonded. I want to try to get a little bit in here and maybe up this spine here, because that's all part of support. But other than that, that's the best I could do. The only other thing I can potentially think of is I have to play it by ear, but I might, grab a Dremel tool and dig out this crack a little bit on the front and fill it in with Bondo to try to smooth it out and just paint this whole thing with spray paint or something. But trying to match the paint properly to this, because it's all scuffed up and cracked. I could probably rebond it, but I don't know. It's like, how far are you willing to go for something like this? I mean, the important thing is the crack is glued, so we have that at least. But yeah, I kind of don't know what to do from this point forward. But I'm gonna add some more stuff on there and let it bond, especially the structural spine here. And we'll let that bond, and then we're gonna set it off to the side, and we're gonna start working on the other pieces of this machine that need worked on. So what I did this time is I grabbed the clamp. Well, I wiped the crack here and here a little bit, then grabbed the clamp and squeezed it, and I did it again, so that way I can try to bond the structural parts, and that should be good. Because if this wasn't structural, I wouldn't use this type of stuff. I would just use either that super glue over there, or epoxy, because it's easier to manipulate and work with. But since this is actually structural, because it helps hold the CRT, I had to do this type of bonding, especially if I want it to last any length of time anyways. This plastic is brittle, but it's actually still fairly pliable, so it's not that brittle. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm noticing it's dinged up pretty good here too. I mean, yeah, this thing is beat to crap. So I wonder if it's just better to smooth some of this stuff out. The problem is the texturing. Any type of Bondo work you do with this, you're going to notice a distinct lack of texturing. So I don't know. And I don't know if I really want to go that far with it. I'll probably just clean up the scuffs and all the white marks and stuff like that and see what happens. But anyways, this has got to sit and cure, and then we're going to clean this up and put the CRT and stuff back in. Alright, so after clamps, reapplication of the glue several times, and lots of time later, we have the crack filled in, and it's hard and it's not going anywhere. I did it from the back side so it would use the capillary action to seep in. And I used some glue down there along that support rib, and it's all in there now. So it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But it's on there. It's not coming off, and it's not terrible, all things considered. I can still feel the crack, but I mean, you're not gonna get it any better than this. And it's missing a plastic chunk out of there anyway, so it's not bad. From a distance, you can't really tell. It's certainly better than what it was, because it was pretty bad beforehand, and it was a support structure, so I didn't have a choice but to glue it back. The next thing is to grab this degreaser cleaner stuff and my magic erasers. And this stuff you got to be very careful with, or you'll take the textures right off. And I want to try to go with the scuffs a little bit here, especially these marks, and see where I can get with it. But again, it's not going to be perfect because we're just polishing a turd here. It is what it is. But at least it's one more machine saved out of the dump, and these things are not very common anyways, The only thing that might be more common than these is the TAM. But yeah, it's, what do? You know, fill it in with Bondo, but then you're still going to see it because it doesn't have the texture. Oh well, let's just clean it up and get this thing fixed. So I got it as clean as I possibly could. Had to use the permanent marker trick and all that, try to get this spot off, but again, it wouldn't come off because it was embedded into the texture. So of course, when I went at it with the magic eraser, it went into the texture a little bit, but it got rid of the blemish for the most part. But yeah, you can see it takes the paint off if you're not careful. So you got to watch out for that. But I did clean it up the best I possibly could. It's not perfect, but again, you're polishing a turd. It is what it is. So that's it for the front cover, and now it's time to start getting a CRT back in there and getting it put back together. Alright, before we put it back together, I'm going to clean the CRT, at least the face of it, because it's easier to do when the bezel's not on it, because you can see the bezel ring. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this. You just got to be careful with the CRT. I have it on this mat because I positioned it downward and just barely have it sitting there. Otherwise, if you're not careful, you'll break this, or worse, neck the tube, and you don't want to do that. So I'm going to take this opportunity while I have the CRT out of the bezel, and I'm going to clean the face of it. And then we're going to get it back together. You know, this stuff here works really, really well. Look how clean that is. It says, however, not to use on glass. You only live once. Worked good for me. So we'll just leave it like that. I have the CRT in place, but I don't have it screwed down yet. I'm not going to do that just quite yet. One thing I will do though while I have this apart is I want to pay attention to these correction magnets, because they're stuck on by this double-sided tape, and this tape will fail. Matter of fact, it's already coming loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this position so I know exactly where it is, and I'm going to glue that back on, and it'll stay on there. Well, I don't glue it. I'm just probably going to use VHB 3M tape, but it'll stay on there as long as this DAG coating stays on. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take care of that now while I have this thing apart, so it doesn't fall off and cause problems, because I guarantee it will. And as I suspected, as soon as I pulled on it, it literally fell right off. So I got new VHB tape in here. It's this gray 3M VHB stuff. Got it all in there, and I have it. You can see the mark where I put it before I pulled it off. And it's all lined up. And it's stuck in place. So now I got to do that on the other one over here, and then we'll be good. Of course, that marker gets all over me, but here's what it is. So let's do the other side next, and then we're going to be done. Got the CRT all mounted in place. I got the degaussing coil in place. Got the screws in. Everything's all tight now. The correction magnets are in where they should be. Everything's all good now. I got the chassis back in here. I had to blow it out outside and did the best I could there. It's all snapped in. It's solid. It's not going anywhere. So I think I'm going to call it for this part. We need to work on the next thing. I don't know. I think it might be the analog board or something. We'll figure out what that is in a minute. But the only thing left to do now is I've got to clean off the back cover, but we don't need to video all of that. So I think that's it for this part. So yeah, we'll move on to the next thing in the series. But for now, that wraps up part 1. So got everything all glued in place. And it's not going anywhere now. I got the CRT screen cleaned off. There's some scratches on the front of the CRT, a couple little light ones. So whatever happened to it that caused this crack probably scratched the tube. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Anyways, thank you for watching. Please feel free to leave a comment if you have one. Hit that like and subscribe button, and visit the Discord link below if you wish. And until next time.